Hello and welcome to MongoDB, the Beginner's Bootcamp. This is a hands-on learning course for anyone looking to learn or refresh their skills with MongoDB. The objective of this course is to teach you all of the basic functions and methods of MongoDB in an easy and direct manner. By learning the basics of MongoDB first, you will prepare yourself for a well-advanced future when working with MongoDB and database development projects. In this course, you will learn how to create collections, insert data, update data, and how to delete and drop information from within a collection or database. In addition, you will also learn how to use comparison and logical operators and different types of aggregation functions. Here is a complete list of the curriculum. In Section 1, there will be an introduction and the installation of MongoDB on a Mac or Windows operating system. In Section 2, we will learn about how to create a collection or first we will learn how to use a database. Then we will learn how to create a collection, insert the different type of methods to insert documents into a collection, or how to update a collection. In Section 3, we will learn about define method. In Section 4, we will then learn about comparison operators, which are equal to, greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, not equal to, in, or not in. In Section 5, we will learn about logical operators, and, or, not, and or. In Section 6, we will learn about aggregation, querying a collection, sort, limit, skip, max and min, and projection queries. In Section 7, we will learn about querying an array and how to create a relationship within our database. We will have an introduction lesson to the lookup function. And then finally, we will learn the different methods of delete and drop in a collection or a database. In the next video, we will continue with learning or following these instructions to install MongoDB either on a Windows or a Mac computer. I will see you then. Thank you. Hello and welcome. Before we begin the installation process of MongoDB, I would like to let you know that the installation of MongoDB is optional. If you prefer to not install MongoDB, you can use this following link: www.tutorialspoint.com/MongoDB_terminal_online.php. Click on this link or open the link, and you will be directed to a MongoDB platform. Within a few seconds, the MongoDB shell will load and you are now ready to begin working. That's it, if you choose to not do an installation. The pros of this is that it is easy to access and there's no download necessary. However, there's a few cons. The cons of this is that your database that you create and the collections within the database will not be saved. So every time you continue with the course, you will have to reopen this page and reload the database. I will provide you with a source code with all of the database code, so you can always copy the code and paste it in this window. I will provide that to you later in this course. However, just keep in mind that if you choose to not download MongoDB, which I recommend, I do recommend you download MongoDB because it is a very easy installation. It takes less than 5 minutes, and this way all of your work will always be saved. But I created this course in a way that if you do not download MongoDB, you will have enough time to complete each lecture inside of this platform. I try to create each video to be 15 to 20 minutes or even much less. This will give you enough time to work inside of this platform and to avoid the platform possibly losing connection or the project being too long that you're constantly typing or repasting a lot of code. So this is why I've made the course less than 6 hours, and I've tried to make each lecture less than 20 minutes. So if you download MongoDB, wonderful. But if you cannot download MongoDB, you can still take this course and you can still do all of the work inside of this platform. In the next video, we will continue by learning the installation process for MongoDB on a Mac computer. Then, there will be another video of how to download MongoDB on a Windows computer. Please select whichever works best for you, the tutorial, Windows, or Mac. Once you've completed or you've made your choice, you can then begin the course in section 2. I will see you then. Thank you. Hello and welcome back. In this video, we will go over the installation process of MongoDB on a Mac computer. First, the installation process is optional. You can use the following link to access a MongoDB terminal. Click on this link. And then you are then forwarded to a MongoDB terminal. Within a few seconds, the MongoDB shell will load and then you're ready to begin. I do, however, recommend that you download MongoDB because any work you do in MongoDB will automatically be saved. All of your databases and all of your collections will be saved. This way, as you continue the course, you can automatically start MongoDB and continue to work. If you use the terminal, none of the collections or database will be saved. You will have to run the command each time you begin to work. This is why for this course I set it up in a way that the videos are not too long and you can complete an exercise within 15 to 20 minutes, regardless if you're using the online tutorial shell or you are using MongoDB. First, let us begin the installation process. To install MongoDB on a Mac computer, search Homebrew or go to the link https://brew.sh/. Once you go to this home page, copy the install Homebrew source code. Copy the source code and paste it inside of a terminal. Open a terminal window. And paste all of that code inside of the terminal. Once you paste that code inside of the terminal, within a few seconds the Homebrew package will install. Then clear the screen and type the following command: brew install MongoDB. Hit enter and MongoDB will install. This install usually takes a few seconds. Once the command is stopped running, you can clear the screen and hit the command mongo --version. You will then see the MongoDB shell with the version. This means that MongoDB was installed successfully on your computer. And that is all that it takes, just a few commands, and within a few minutes a successful install. For part B, I would like you to install MongoDB Compass. Search MongoDB Compass or go to www.mongodb.com/products/compass. Click on Try It Now, then select the community version. Download MongoDB Compass. It will be a zip file, so unzip and drag the MongoDB icon into the application folder. On your Mac computer, go to Finder. When you open Finder, go to Computer. In Computer, you will be in the root directory. Double-click on Macintosh HD, and create a new folder inside of the root directory. Name that folder Data. Then open the data folder and create a new folder called DB, database, DB. Once you've done this, return to the terminal and enter the command mongod and hit enter. This will load the MongoDB server. Once the server is loaded, open a new terminal window. So you are opening a second terminal window. And in that window, type mongo space -- host, localhost, semicolon, and the local host port number is 27017. Hit enter to connect to MongoDB. Then, a window like this will pop up. Once this pops up, you are now connected to MongoDB. Or rather than pop up, all of this data will load and you will know that you are now connected to MongoDB. Then open MongoDB Compass and click Connect. Everything will be preloaded, the local host and the port number. Click Connect and congrats, you have now installed MongoDB Compass. Now, I went over all of the steps for you to install MongoDB and MongoDB Compass. If you would like to see a video that shows you how to install this, click on this link. I am providing you with a free YouTube link that shows you how to install MongoDB and MongoDB Compass step by step. Just click on this link and you will be able to see a video with instructions with each step by step. I have previously installed MongoDB when I created this class. Therefore, I am not creating my own video, but I did create this PDF and I am providing you with a link. The user who goes through the installation does a very good job. I have used it with students in previous classes and I have used it myself when I installed MongoDB. So if you click on this link for a Mac installation, you will see his guide to install MongoDB step by step. He also has a video to install MongoDB on a Windows system step by step. So if you're using Mac, click on this link. If you're using Windows, click on this link. In the next video, I will go over a step-by-step guide on how to install MongoDB on a Windows computer. I will see you then. Thank you. Hello and welcome. In this video, we will go over the steps to install MongoDB on a Windows computer. First, download MongoDB Community Server. You can find MongoDB Community Server at this link, www.mongodb.com/download-center. Click on Community Server, click on Download. After you have downloaded MongoDB Community Server, open the package, open MongoDB. Run through the installation process. Be sure you accept all of the terms and conditions. Select the complete edition. Okay, be sure you select the complete edition. Then, also select the small checkbox at the bottom of the screen or the window to install MongoDB Compass. There will be a small box. Click that box to select this option. Click Next, and then click Install. Once the installation is complete, go to your Windows computer. Go to My Computer or to the local disk, the C drive. In the local disk, the C drive, right-click and create a new folder. Name the folder Data. Inside of the Data folder, create a new folder named DB. DB for database. The path of this folder will be database, which is in the data folder, which is in the local C drive. open the command prompt window and enter this command. Type mongo space hyphen version. Hit enter. After you hit enter, you will then see the MongoDB shell with a version number. Clear the screen and then type or enter mongod. MONGOD, hit enter. The server will then load. Once the server loads, open a new command prompt window. So from the first command prompt window, right-click and open a new command prompt window. In the new window, type mongo space hyphen host space localhost semicolon 27017. Hit enter and MongoDB will load. Congrats, you have now successfully installed MongoDB. This is a very easy installation process, regardless if you're doing it on a Windows computer or a Mac computer. Now, I have previously installed MongoDB when I was creating this class for you. Therefore, I cannot go over the installation process. But trust me, it is a very easy process, and I am also providing you with a YouTube link. So if my instructions, if you were stuck at anywhere, you can view either or of these links. If you're working with a Windows computer, please click on this link and you will see a video by a YouTube member on how to install MongoDB and Compass on a Windows computer. It is such an easy installation, it takes less than 5 minutes. If you are working with a Mac computer, please click on this link and you will see the same YouTube member do an installation on a Mac computer. It is also a very easy installation process. So if you follow these steps exactly like I listed them, you would have installed MongoDB easily. But if for some reason you prefer to see a video, please click on either one of these links, and you will be provided with a free installation video by a YouTube member who posted it to help people install MongoDB, either for a Windows computer or for a Mac computer. I would like to thank him for sharing his free reference on YouTube, and I would like to thank you for viewing this video and hope that you have successfully installed MongoDB. If you are facing any problems after reviewing all of these steps or looking at the right video based on your operating system, please leave me a comment and let me know, and I will try to help you myself. In the next video, we will begin our course with an introduction to MongoDB. I'll see you then. Thank you. Hello and welcome to the first lecture of our MongoDB Beginners Bootcamp. My name is Mark and I am your instructor for this course. First, let us begin with a brief introduction to MongoDB, and immediately in video 2, we will begin working one-on-one with MongoDB in the live platform. First, let's take a look at MongoDB and some of the history behind it. MongoDB was created by Dwight Merriam and Elliot Horowitz, who had encountered development problems when working within a traditional relational database. Some of the problems, or the main problem they encountered, was how to store big data. Big data that is not normally accepted into a structured or a relational database. Ultimately, they implemented MongoDB, which is an open source database management system that uses a document-oriented based model to support various forms and large amounts of data. MongoDB is classified as a NoSQL database, which stands for Not Only SQL, and is used in big data applications and other processing jobs involving data that does not fit well into a structured database. There are three main important features of MongoDB. These are the features that make MongoDB stand out and makes it a unique database. The first is flexibility. With flexibility, you can enforce any type of data within MongoDB. Data in MongoDB has a flexible schema. Collections do not enforce document structure. This flexibility gives you the data model and choice to match your application and its performance requirements dynamically. Therefore, it can dynamically modify the schema without any downtime to the database. Scalability. Scalability means that we should be able to meet the consumption of a growing database. It can be defined as the ability of the system to handle a growing amount of workload in a capable manner. As the size of the data increases in MongoDB, a process called sharding solves the problem by doing horizontal scaling. Performance is a very important factor when dealing with a database in MongoDB or with any database, relational or non-relational. MongoDB performs well. The reason for this is that the number of queries can increase SQL to take more time to execute those queries when working within a relational database, but the performance factor of MongoDB is better in such scenario. There's no various factors that are responsible for the high performance of MongoDB, provides the embedding of documents, it avoids the concept of joins, which is a complicated matter when working within a relational database, and it provides us the ability to index data. MongoDB also uses JSON. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. JSON-like documents means that fields can vary from document to document, and data structure can be changed over time. This is not an option that is easily done within a relational database. JSON supports all of the basic data types you'd expect, such as numeric, strings, and booleans. MongoDB represents JSON documents in binary encoded format called BSON behind the scenes. BSON extends the JSON model to provide additional data types or the fields and to be efficient for encoding and decoding within different languages. Let's take a look at a relational database and let's take a look at how the difference that it has compared to MongoDB. So first, before we take a look at any relational database, let's take a look at the terminology that MongoDB uses. So MongoDB is still referred to as a database. As with relational database management systems, a database is the proper term straight across the board. However, unlike a relational database that uses the term table for their tables, in MongoDB, a table is referred to as a collection, and a collection is not structured the same way as the average table in a relational database. We will see an example of this in the next slide. Index are the same in a relational database and MongoDB. A row is considered a document in MongoDB. A column is considered a field. And joins in a relational database are normally done by inner joins, outer joins, left joins, right joins, or sometimes subquery joins. However, in MongoDB, the concept of joining tables together or collections together are completely different. We create relationships, and within those relationships, we create embedded information. We then link that information together, and we use different functions, such as lookup or graph lookup, to retrieve data from within a collection. We will have a lot of practice with this in the coming lectures. Now let's take a look at a relational database. This is a simple format of a relational table from a relational database. And here is how we create a table. This is what a table will look like in a relational database. Normally there's a field, and one of the fields has to be a unique identifier, a primary key. As you can see here, we have the employee ID, which is the primary key. We have name of employees, and we have title of employees. To create a table in a relational database, we must use the create table statement. We must select a name for the table, and we must identify the name of each column. In addition, we must select a data type and a size for that data type. Once we select the data type and the size for that data type, all of the information inserted into the table must meet the requirements, or else we will be prompted with an error. For example, insert the first row, employee 1, Jones, manager IT. We are selecting a number, therefore there's no quotes, and we'll enter in a varchar. A varchar for name up to 30 characters, therefore whatever we enter must be 30 or less, and a title up to 25. Anything we enter here must be 25 characters or less, including the spaces. Anything above will prompt us with an error. If we try to enter anything else, any other type of data types in these fields, we will be prompted with an error. What do I mean? Therefore, employee ID must be numeric. Name must be varchar. Therefore, for the name, if we set up the structure of the table to be varchar or numeric, when we enter the information, it has to be varchar or it has to be numeric. Suddenly, we cannot make this a different data type because the structure of the table has already been formed, and the system knows this. Therefore, if we were looking to change the table, we will have to drop the entire table, delete the table, and repopulate the table. Now let's take a look at how this exact table is created in MongoDB, what it looks like in MongoDB, and how easier it is to work in MongoDB. So before we switch to the next slide, pay attention to this information. We have employee 1, 2, and 3, Jones, Smith, and Green. Here's what that looks like in a MongoDB. First, to create a table or a collection in MongoDB, we must select the name of the collection. Therefore, the name of the table in the relational database was employees, and we want this information to be identical in our MongoDB system. We want the information to be identical so you can see and understand, okay, the information is identical, but it's different how we insert the information and how we work with the information. So let's take a look here. First, to create the table, you use the use command. Use command followed by the name of the collection. Therefore, I typed in use employees because that is what I would like my collection to be named. Then I can insert each one of those employees. We had 3, one by one. Insert the employee ID, the name Jones, and the title for each employee. And if each employee is inserted successfully, we will have an output that says and inserted 1. And this means that it was successfully inserted into the database. Now, when we insert information into the database, we can look at that information the same way we can look at the information in SQL. Normally in SQL, we can select star from the name of the table, and all of the information will be provided to us. It is the same thing in MongoDB. To view the information within a collection, you can use the DB period collection name period find open parentheses, and this will list us all of the information inside of the database, inside of the collection. We can also do db.collectionName find open parentheses period for each document within the collection, print in JSON format. And what that means is the data will be returned to us exactly the same, except the data will be returned to us in this format, where it's a little more easier to read. So this is what the formats looks like when we use for each print JSON. In the next few slides, I will show you an example of what the data looks like when we just do db.collectionName find. It's the same data, but it's clustered and it's a little harder to read. Now also, we can also insert data into the collection in different ways. First, we inserted information about employee 1, 2, and 3, and we inserted that information separately. We can also do a bulk insertion into a Mongo collection. What we will do is we can create a var. As you can see, I did here. I created a var, named it my employee var, equal to, within brackets, and then for each document you would like to add, I am adding 3. I am adding employee number 4, employee number 5, and employee number 6. Each document is separated within their own curly brackets. Each document is also separated by a comma. This is how we know we're at the end of each document. So here starts another document. The information we're looking to add, the closing bracket, comma, new document, the information we're looking to add, closing bracket, comma. There's nothing else we would like to add at this time, so we can close the bracket, semicolon, and then we can enter this information into the MongoDB all at once. And we do this by using the insert command. As you look at the bottom image, I have db.employees, which is the collection name, dot insert, in parentheses, the name of my collection. The name of my collection was my employee var, and I'm identifying the collection I created right here within these parentheses, semicolon, and you will hit enter. Once you hit enter, if there's any errors, it will tell you right here on the platform. But we were not provided with any, or we were not outputted any errors. Therefore, everything was inserted fine. 3 documents were inserted. Now here's what the database looks like. Now that we've inserted 7 different employees, actually, I've inserted a 7th, but so far we have only inserted 6. Let's review the 7th. And here it is. It's right here. So first we had employee ID 1, 2, and 3, and we inserted those separately. Then you created a var, or we created a var in this example, and we inserted employee 4, 5, and 6. However, I inserted employee 7. And I did this on purpose, and I did it a little different to show you how MongoDB is willing to accept changes within a collection or within a table, as to where we will not be able to do this in an SQL database. So here's what I did. I inserted employee number 7. And I inserted a name for that employee. But when I inserted that employee, all of the other previous times, I used quotes for the first 3. For the second 3, I just entered a number. And then for employee number 7, I also used quotes around the value. Normally in SQL, if we're using a numeric data type, you do not have to use quotes. Also, you will use a numeric data type if you need to conduct some type of calculation within a database. Therefore, if you have a numeric number that you need to conduct calculation with, you should not use a variable in SQL. Therefore, the system will not be able to calculate anything. Also, for employee number 7, I left out the title. And I left this out on purpose to show you that MongoDB will accept the document that I've entered, even if it's in a different format. We have the name, or one of the fields are missing. They will still accept this information. Working with SQL, we will not be able to do this. The only time in SQL we will be able to leave out a field is if we have the option to do that. And we will know if we have the option to do that is by looking at the structure of the table again. Everything says not null. Anything that says not null means that information is required. It is mandatory. However, if there's no indication of not null, then that field is optional. Only then can we insert information or not insert information for that column. And SQL will accept it if we have the option to leave it blank. However, if we do not have the option to leave it blank, and we are told not null for every single line, we must always enter information in that field. And that is just a difference in MongoDB, as you can see here. So in MongoDB, for all of our employees, 1 to 6, we have the employee ID, we have their name, and we have their title. But for employee 7, we just have the employee ID and the employee name. We do not have a title for him, and the system was perfectly fine with us entering information that way. In fact, if we were to enter other information into the system, even add a field besides name, employee ID, or title, let's say we add a field that says date hired, the date the employee was hired, MongoDB will accept the statement and add a field for that specific table. Now, this is just a brief explanation of how the database accepts data and how data can be stored either in a relational database or a MongoDB, a NoSQL database. Also, here's the example of what the output will look like if we view data simply using the find command. db.collectionname.find will give us a list of all of the employees in a straight format. But as you can recall, here I used the example of db.collectionname.find for each print JSON, and this prints out the information in a little more presentable manner. So in this video, we had a brief introduction to MongoDB, and we had an idea of how to create collections in MongoDB, how to insert data within a collection or document within a collection. We can insert it one at a time, or we can do it in bulk using the insert and by creating a var. In the next video, we will begin by actually working with MongoDB hands-on. Step by step, we will create 2 collections within a database. Then, towards the end, we will form a relationship within those 2 collections, and we will start linking those relationships to gather information the same way we will in a structured database, except we will not be using joins. The process is different, but it's very easy to grasp. So I will see you in the next video, and we will begin working hands-on with MongoDB. See you then. Thank you. Hi everyone, here's the final table I would like you to try. Please create a collection called Bookfee. In this collection, we will store information about different types of events, such as festivals, parades, banquets, weddings, parties, or other events. We will also store information about a starting booking fee, such as a festival will be $600 as the highest fee, this fees in between, and the lowest fee is other events, starting fee $300. Please try to create this collection, and in the next video, we will go over this solution together. Thank you. In this video, we will create the book fee collection together. First, log in to the Mongo console, access the musician or the music database, and let us begin. DB, name the collection, book fee, insert many. I'm going to use the insert many method to insert all of the information at once. Open parenthesis, open bracket, open curly bracket to enter the first line in the document. type, semicolon, festival, separated by comma, starting fee, semicolon, $600, closing bracket, separated by comma. Type, parades, separated by comma, starting fee, $500, closing bracket, type, banquets, comma, starting fee, semicolon, $450, closing bracket, comma. Type, weddings, comma, starting fee, semicolon, $400, closing bracket, comma. Type, parties, starting fee, $375, closing bracket, comma. Type, other events, starting fee, $300. Once you have verified that all of the syntax is correct, everything has an open and closing bracket and separated by a comma. Everything is within quotations. If it's a string, if it's a number, you do not need to add a quotation. Verify that all lines of code is entered correctly. End it with a comma. Hit enter. Close in bracket, close in parenthesis, hit enter. Acknowledge true. Inserted IDs. Object IDs was created for each one because we did not assign a specific ID, and that is okay for this table. Now we have created all three tables within our database. If we type the command show collections, we will now see that we have the bands collection, the book fee collection, and the musician collection. Once you have hit enter, go ahead and type in db period book fee period find open parentheses, and all of the information will appear. We have 5 different we have 6 different booking events, their types, and their starting fee. We have now created all 3 collections within our music database. In the next video, or the next section, we will begin working with the database to learn how to retrieve data from each one of these collections. I will see you then. Thank you. Hello and welcome back. In the previous video, we went over a brief introduction into MongoDB, how to select a database, create a collection, and how to insert documents into any collection. In this video, let's actually practice doing that using MongoDB. First thing first, open the MongoDB console. You will need to go to Terminal. You can verify that MongoDB was installed. Then type mongod, M-O-N-G-O-D, to load the server. Once the server has been loaded, open a new window in the terminal. Type in Mongo host localhost followed by the port number. So Mongo host localhost port number 27017. Hit enter. And now MongoDB has been fully loaded. Also, if you did not download the software, you can visit the following link and a MongoDB terminal will be provided for you to use. Click on the link, open link, sometimes it takes a few seconds to load, but there it is. Everything has loaded, and now you can fully work with MongoDB within this terminal. This terminal is a very good platform to use. However, it can be frustrating because sometimes while you're working in the terminal, it will automatically cut off and you will need to reload everything. This is why I recommend you can use this free platform, but if you can download the MongoDB software, that is even better for you to use. Once the terminal is loaded, you can minimize that window, but then I would like to open MongoDB Compass. Let me see. Where is it? There it is. Once MongoDB Compass opens, again it will be connected to the same local host, port number 27017. This page will come up. Localhost, port number will already be loaded. Do not change any of the information. Simply click Connect. And once you click Connect, you're able to see all of the databases that currently exist within your MongoDB system. The MongoDB Compass is basically an easy platform for employees to use within an organization who are not familiar with coding with MongoDB from scratch. It makes it easier for them to view information and change information within a database. Now let's begin working with MongoDB in the console, and after each command I will show you how the information is changed in MongoDB Compass. Let us begin. Here is the first database that we were looking at in Lecture 1. The first database was called Employees. Now let's use this Employees database. To recall, we can create a database called Employees, or we can simply type in use employees. If the collection does not exist, MongoDB will automatically create it for us. As you can see, it now says switch to DB database employees. Now let's insert documents into this database, and once we insert those documents, the database will become visual. And what I mean by that, we just created the database use employees, but if we use the command show database and hit enter, notice that only 3 will show up: admin, config, and local. The database employees does not show up because we have not inserted any information into the database. Only after we have inserted the first document, that is when the database will become visual in MongoDB. So let us insert our first piece of information. The first piece of information is for employee ID 1, name Jones, and the title was manager. Let's do this. To insert information, we simply type db, the name of the database we're looking to insert, followed by open parentheses and brackets. The curly brackets is an indication that we are using JSON format. Type in the name of the field, employee ID, semicolon, 1, comma, name, Jones, comma, title, manager, IT manager. So this is the first piece of information we will insert, the first document we will insert into the employees database. After we insert this information, then the database will become visual. Let's take a look at that now. In MongoDB Compass, currently there's only 3 databases: admin, config, and local. Even if I refresh the system, there's still just these 3. Now let us insert the first piece of information. Hit enter, and we get a successful return saying N inserted 1. This means that our insert was inserted successfully. Now let us look at the databases in the system. Let us do show database, hit enter, and now the employees database is visual. We can see it because it has now been populated with information. Let us take a look in MongoDB Compass. Here's the first 3. Now if we click refresh, the employees database has now become visual to us. We can see the employee database. If you click on the employee database, which we know has 1 collection, if we click on the employees database, we will see the collection, employees. And here it is, employee ID 1, name Jones, title is the manager of IT. Now let us try to insert the rest of this information. Next, we will insert Did you see I made a small error there? After employee ID, I had a single quote, then 2, and then a double quote. Always pay attention to the punctuation, to the quotation, and to the syntax. Name, Smith. Title, payroll. Verify that everything is correct. We are inserting employee ID number 2. DB employees insert employee ID 2. Name Smith. Title payroll clerk. Hit enter. And again, that was successful. Let us do the final. Now, each time in MongoDB, you can go back to the previous demands you entered. If you hit the up arrow, you will see that the DB we just entered, the employee information for employee number 2, will reappear. We can go back and we can scroll to change the information. So for example, for employee number 2, now we want to edit this line for employee number 3. You simply go to one character before the value you're looking to change. So I'm looking to change number 2 to number 3. So I will go to one value ahead, one character ahead, which is at the quotation mark. Hit backspace and enter 3. And as you can see, the number 3 is entered in the proper form. Let's do the same thing for the name. So we're looking to change the name of Smith to employee 3, which is Green. So to one character ahead, we delete the information and we change it to Green. For title, this person's title is a supervisor, so we need to change payroll to supervisor. One character ahead, backspace to delete the current information, and enter the proper title. In this case, employee 3 belongs to Green and the title is supervisor. Hit enter and we are returned with a successful command. Now let's take a look at this information in MongoDB. Click refresh, and now within the employees collection we have 3 different documents. Click, and here are the 3 documents. First, for Jones, manager of IT. Second, Smith, a payroll clerk. And third, Green, a supervisor. If you click on table, you're able to see this information set up in a table format. It's a little more clear to read. Let's try another. Now that we have populated our database, let's retrieve the information and view it within the MongoDB console. So to view the information, just like we did in MongoDB Compass, we did not have to type any code. And that is the beauty of MongoDB. It provides you with MongoDB Compass, It provides you with an easy interface to use, especially for employees who do not have any type of background in computer science or in technology. Now let's go ahead and hard type the code in the MongoDB console so we can view the information like we did in MongoDB Compass. First, type in DB and the name of the collection. The name of our collection was employees. And I'm following the example right here from the slide from lecture number 1 on slide number 6. We're going to type DB period the collection name period find employees period find parentheses, hit enter, and here you go. Here is the return. Sometimes it's a little bulky to read. So here's the return. We have the ID, we have the automatic ID that was created, and then we have the fields that we entered. We entered a field called employee ID, name, and title. We have 3 different employees belonging to Joan, Smith, and Green, who is a manager of IT, a payroll clerk, and a supervisor. This is one way to outprint this information. Here's another way. We can press up and we can go back to db.employees.find, but we can also type period for each print JSON. Here you go, and this is what I'm typing now. I'm doing db.collectionName period find parentheses period for each JSON, print JSON, hit enter, and the same exact information that we retrieved previously, By adding the for each print JSON, we're able to print the exact information and information that is presented to us in a better format, an easier format for us to read. Let us continue. Also, we went over an example of how to insert bulk information at a time. We can create a variable, and we can insert the variable to add more than one document at a time. So let us create that variable now. Var, the name of the variable was my employee. Var is equal to. We are inserting a document, an array of more than one document at a time. Therefore, this information must be in square brackets. After square brackets, each document has to be in its own curly brackets. So let's do employee, employee ID, employee number 4, and this is what I'm following. We're going to add employee number 4, 5, and 6. So we're at employee number 4. Oh, I made an error. Do you see my error there? My error was I typed in employee number 4, but I forgot the quotation mark. And this is why it's very important also to verify or to pay attention to your code before you hit enter. So let's do this together. Instead of us typing codes, being that this is a big beginner course, instead of us trying to type the code in the console live, open a text file. If you're using Mac or Windows, open a text file. Text edit. New. And let's first type the code inside of a text file. And after we've typed the code and we've verified that all of the information is correct, then we can copy the code and paste it into the console all at once. And this is a good way to practice your code with whatever language you're working with. Try to type it first in some type of text editor and then paste it into the console. So instead of you typing line by line and then having multiple lines of code and not realizing that you made an error and then hit an enter, you're going to have to go ahead and retype everything. So it's best practice to do it first in a text editor and then copy the code and paste it into the console. Let us begin. Var my employee var is equal to brackets, curly brackets, employee ID 4. Name Lawson. Wow, I'm making a lot of errors there. Excuse that, please. Lawson. Title. Clerk. So here's the code for the 4th employee. The employee ID, every single field is within quotations. And then the field values, some are within quotations and some are not. For example, a numeric value does not have to be within quotations. So we have employee ID, name, and title. Employee ID is 4, the name is Lawson, the title is clerk. And this is all of the information we're looking to enter for this document. Therefore, we had the open curly bracket. Now we close the document with the close curly bracket separated by a comma. Then we could hit enter and we can begin with employee number 5. And to save us some time, let us copy this code from bracket to bracket, copy the code, go beneath and paste the code. And this way we can just change the field values. We can change the employee ID to be 5. we can change the name Lawson to Nielsen, and we can change the title to manager. Accountant manager. Verify that open curly bracket, close curly bracket, and we have the proper information. Employee ID 5, name Nielsen, title manager of accountant. Let us do the same for employee number 6. Employee ID is now 6. The name is Michaels. And the title is supervisor. Now, this is the last document we are looking to insert. Therefore, after the curly bracket and the comma, we can then end the document by adding the closing bracket. We started with the open bracket at the top. Now we need to close it at the end. Semicolon. Now let's copy this code and paste it into the MongoDB console. But before we do this, let's verify again that everything is correct. So var my employee, and there, I already caught an error. I made an error with my code, a spelling error. So var my employee EMPL. Let me just retype this. My employee var. My employee EMPLOYEEVAR. Square brackets. And within those square brackets, we have 3 different documents. 3 different documents separated by their own curly brackets and commas. The first document belongs to employee ID 4, Lawson, clerk. The second document, employee ID 5, name Nielsen, title manager, accountant. Employee number 6, name Michaels, title supervisor. This is the last document. Therefore, we end it with the closing bracket. Copy the code, copy, and now paste everything into the MongoDB console. Hit enter. And when you hit enter, nothing will appear. This means that it was inputted successfully. Now, let us take this document that we created and let us insert it into our employees database. And to do that, all we have to do is now go to the bottom and enter this code. db period employees period insert parentheses. In the parentheses, we will enter the name of the var that we created, which was my employee var. So let us try this. db.employees dot insert parentheses my employee var. Before you hit enter, verify that everything is correct. db period the name of the collection, which is employees, EMPLOYEES, period insert parentheses and the name of the var, my employee var. I want it to be identical. It should not matter, but I want it to be exactly how I created it. So I entered the letter V as lowercase. I went ahead and changed that now to uppercase. So everything is identical. My employee var. Now hit enter. And this was inserted correctly. After you hit enter, this is what the output will look like. Now, errors, there were no errors. Right concern errors, there was none. How many pieces of information was inserted? There was 3. and everything else, there's nothing. Nothing upserted, nothing was matched, nothing was modified, nothing was removed. Now let's go ahead and look at that information in the database. DB, do you remember how to do it? DB, the name of the collections, find. DB, period, the name of the collection you're searching in, which is employees, period, find. Hit enter, and now we can see that all of the information has been entered. We first entered employee 1, 2, and 3. We inserted them one at a time. But then for employees 4, 5, and 6, we used a var, name myEmployeeVar, and then we inserted everything into the employees collection. Now let's take a look at Mongo Compass and see how has it been updated. Last we had employees 1, 2, and 3. Click refresh. And there you go. Now we have employees 4, 5, and 6. Sometimes when you click refresh, you have to go all the way back out and re-click on the name of the collection for everything to load. But there you have it. Employees 1, 2, and 3, and employees 4, 5, and 6. Now in the next video, we will continue learning how to insert information into MongoDB, except this time we will learn how to insert information into MongoDB with several documents with embedded information. For example, what if there's more information about employee number 1 we needed to add? We can embed information, therefore we can have multiple ways of adding information to a collection without going through the traditional steps that a relational database will require. For example, in a relational database, if we needed to add or change any of this information, we may need to alter the table, update the table, or even change the structure of the table. Worst case scenario, delete the table and recreate the table. This is the beauty of MongoDB. With MongoDB, we can change the information as needed and the system will accept it. But we will view this in the next video. In the next video, we will start to embed information and how to select different types of information within the system. I will see you then. Thank you. As we begin to create collections within our music database, let us take a look at the basic structure of a MongoDB collection. First, within the database, there is the name of the database. Within the database, there is different collections. Within those collections, there are documents, and within those documents, there are fields. If you are familiar with a relational database, the breakdown will then be a database, tables, rows, and then columns. Within MongoDB, there are different types of data types. Here are some of the few data types that exist. For a full list of the data types, you can visit this link, and I will also attach this article as a resource, linking it to the lecture. For the sake of our course, we will not be using any direct data types. Instead, we will be using obviously data types such as numbers, and MongoDB will automatically select the data type for us when we create the collection. Here is what a collection looks like. For example, the first collection we will create is the bands collection. In our band collection, we will have some band members will have an ID and a name. The band name is known as the field name. The title of the band, the name of the band, is known as the field value. The band name is the field name. Valley Moors is the field value. If we had a different variable here, for example, the date of birth, that will be considered the field name. and the date itself will be considered the field value. MongoDB allows us to work with a flexible schema. It is scalable, and this is the beautiful thing about working with MongoDB. As compared to working with a relational database, we first need to identify the structure of the database by a primary or foreign key and the different types of data types. When we select a data type, we also need to specify a size for that data type. After the table is created, information we insert into the table must match specifically according to those data types and to the size. If they do not match, we will be faced with an error. This is the difference when working with MongoDB. When we're working with MongoDB, collections do not require documents to have a specific schema. Documents in the same collection do not need to have the same set of fields. It is easy to change an existing document structure within a collection by updating the documents. We also have the ability to embed information within a document. We will see an example of all of these as we begin creating our collections. Hello and welcome. In this lesson, we will begin creating the database we will work with in MongoDB. It is a music database, and it will consist of 3 different collections. The first collection will be a collection about different types of bands. The second collection will be a collection about different musicians. And the third collection will be a collection about the different type of fees. It will be a book fee collection that stores information about different type of events and their starting fees. First, let us begin to create the database. Before we create a database in MongoDB, first we will use the insert method. To insert a document, you specify the collection that the document will be inserted into. If the collection does not already exist, it will be created for you. We can also use the create collection method. Allows us to create a collection without inserting a document. Let us try by creating both of these bands, Sparrows and the Sun Rays. First, in the MongoDB console, let us take a look at all of the database that currently exists. You can use the command show databases. Hit enter, and you will see that there's just one database by the name of employees. Everything else is a standard in MongoDB. Now, let us create a database called music. To create a database called music, we can simply type use music. Hit enter, and now music has been created. We have been switched to database music. If we type the command show databases, again, we will only see employees and the 3 standard database. Music will not show up until we insert something into the database. We insert a collection with a document. So now that we have created music and we have used music, we are switched to the database music, let us insert our first document or our first band by the name of the Sparrows. To do this, we can say db period the name of the collection, which is bands, period, insert, open parenthesis, open curly bracket. You identify the field name. In this case, it is the band name, Sparrows. Close curly bracket, close parenthesis. Verify the code db period bands period insert. The band name, semicolon, in quotations, the name of the band. Close in curly bracket, close in curly parenthesis. Hit enter. And we return with one successful insert. Now, if we type show databases and hit enter, you will see that music now appears in the list of different databases that we have because one item has been inserted into the bands collection. Let us now try to create a collection using the create collection method. Type in db period create collection in parentheses the name of the collection. Let us just name this collection test. That's right, test. Hit enter, and that collection has been created. Now, if we type show collections, we will see that within the music database, there is the bands, and now there's the test collection. Let us insert something into the test collection. So we're looking to insert into the test collection a field name by the name of info, and we will enter this is a test. Hit enter, and we return with one successful insert. If we were to look at the information we entered, first let us look up the information we entered into the bands collection. We can say db period bands period find. Hit enter, and you will see the object we created. It was automatically created with an ID followed by the band name Sparrows. We can do the same thing for test db period test period find. Hit enter, and we will find the second object we created or the first object we created in the test collection, which was just the info tab. This is a test. Now, this is how you create a collection. You can create a collection by inserting information directly into the collection, or you can use the create collection method. Now that we have learned how to create a collection, let us move on how to assign an ID. As you can see, for both of these documents, we inserted information, but we did not assign a specific ID. Let us do that now. First, here, let us complete this task. First, we created the band the Sparrows. Let us create the second band, the Sunrays, and then we will insert an ID. So to create a second band, we say db period bands insert band name the Sunrays. We're inserting a new band into the bands collection. Hit enter, and we are returned with one successful insert. Now let us look at that collection. To do this, we will type db period bands period find, and now we have the two bands that we need this far in our bands collection. Now both of these bands were created without inserting a specific ID. Let us create one now with a special ID. Let us create a band by the name of Valley Moors and insert or assign an ID of 1. It is the same exact method as before, except this time we indicate the ID field. ID 1. Band name. Valley Moors. DB period insert period insert. DB period bands period insert, open parenthesis, open curly bracket. We're indicating we would like to assign an ID of 1. The band name is Valley Moors, followed by a closing bracket, followed by a closing parenthesis. Now, when we run this command, instead of MongoDB assigning us an object ID, it will automatically assign us an ID of 1. Hit enter, and we return with a successful insert. Now, if we say DB period bands period find, hit enter, you will see that all 3 of our bands exist. We have band 1, the sparrows, the first band that does not have the ID of 1, the sparrows, the second or the next on the list, which is the sunrays. Then we have band 1, because this band was assigned an ID of 1. So if you're looking by ID, then this will be considered 1. If you're just counting how many are on the list, regardless of what the ID is, then we can consider this as 1. But as of now, this is assigned as 1 to the Valley Moors. In this video, we learned how to create collections in MongoDB. We also learned how to insert information into a collection with an assigned ID or without. In the next video, we will continue working on the bands collection, and we will insert embedded information, meaning more information inserted into the same document. I will see you then. Thank you. Hello and welcome back. In this video, we will continue working on the bands collection within the music database. Let us continue by creating embedded documents. Embedded documents can contain other documents, arrays, and arrays of documents. You can also provide multiple name, values, pairs within a document by separating them with commas. Here's an example. We are going to insert a new band name by the name of Blue Morning. In the band Blue Morning, we are going to embed different information pertaining to different events that this band have worked for previously. Basically, the whole idea of our database that we're working with is we're working with, let's say, a group. I live in New York City, and in New York City, we have different events throughout the year. There's Halloween parades, there's spring parades, there's summer parades. I mean, there's just different events. So let's consider this to be a group of different local bands that we are aware of. And whenever there's a public event coming up, we have a database with different bands who have worked with us before, who we can use or even reference from previous events. So let's think about database in this concept. Now, we're looking to insert a new band, and this new band has events that they worked before. Previously, a previous event, they worked at the Liberty State Park 4th of July Festival. The year was 2018. The genre of this band is rock. They also did an event at Jersey City Holiday Festival, the same year of 2018. Their genre is the same as rock. Maybe a band can have more than one genre at a time. I'm not sure yet. We haven't inserted any bands into our database that has this information. But let us work on creating the embedded information for this one band. and insert that information all at once. Back in MongoDB, here's our database, our music database. Let's take a look at all of the information we have in bands. As you can see, I did db period bands find all. Everything we have is the first two we inserted in the previous video, sparrows, the sun rays. Then we inserted a band with a assigned ID. There's no particular reason why we did this. I just wanted you to see that you have the ability to assign an ID whenever you feel like you may need that information within a database. Then we inserted 3 more documents for 3 different bands at the same time. We inserted 3 documents at the same time using the insert statement. Now we're going to insert one band, Blue Morning, with embedded information. 2 different events that we need to have on record. Let us do this right now. So to do this, we can first let us work in a text editor. I believe working in a text editor may be better for us at this moment. And this is the same text editor we worked with in the previous video. Here's the var. So I'm just gonna go beneath this and create a new section for this information. So let's begin. To create or to insert information into our database, we always need to database period the name of the collection insert. We are inserting information about one band but has embedded information in an array. Type in the name of the band name, Blue Morning, the event. The events will be stored in an array, therefore we use brackets. Square bracket, curly bracket for the first containment of the first event. The first event, Liberty State Park, 4th of July. The year was 2018. The genre, is rock. So here's the information for the first event for the Blue Mornings. Being that this is an array, we are creating the event with open brackets. Within those brackets, each document or each event will be contained within curly brackets. For this document, we are only recording information about event, year, and genre. We end the document and we move on to the second one. Once again, curly brackets, event, Jersey City Holiday Festival. year 2018, genre rock. Close it. If there's no more information to add, we close the document with the closing bracket, curly bracket, then with the closing square bracket, then with a curly bracket and a parenthesis. So let us go over this code again. We are inserting information about a new band called Blue Morning. Within this band, we have information about events. This information is being stored in an array. To store information in an array, we use square brackets followed by each document contained by curly brackets. Each document is separated by a comma. We started this with an open parenthesis and a curly bracket. Therefore, at the end of this statement, we need to close it with a curly bracket and with a closed parenthesis. Once you've verified that all of this code is correct, copy the code. And of course, I did something totally different. I paste, so once again, I will undo and copy the code. And then in the MongoDB system, I will go ahead and paste that information. Copy and paste. Here's the beginning, DB bands insert. The band name is Blue Morning. For this band, we are saving information within a document. We're saving two documents within an array. The information is about different events that this band has played for the New York or New Jersey area. Hit enter. And we were given a query syntax missing after proper listing. So let's go ahead and see exactly what we did incorrectly, why this did not work. Let us debug this together. DB band insert the band name Blue Morning. And here's my problem right there. I forgot a comma. I believe that is the only error. Let me verify the code again. DB band inserts band name Blue Morning, comma, events. The events is stored within an array. Therefore, I have an open close bracket and a close bracket. I also have an open curl bracket and a close curl bracket. Within those brackets, I have two different documents. The event document for one, Liberty State Park, 4th of July, the year of 2018. Genre, rock. Looks like I'm also missing a comma right there. So I made more than one typo when creating this code. Let us verify again. Event, Jersey City Holiday Festival. Year, 2018. Genre, rock. Close bracket, curly bracket, close bracket, curly bracket, parenthesis. Okay, so I did have some typo within my code. I corrected that. Let's copy this again. And let's repaste it into the console. Hit enter. And this time it worked successfully. Insert 1. So let us go ahead now and view this information within the database. DB bands find, hit enter. And here's the information that we just entered. Now as you can see, now it's a little more clustered because this information is embedded. But if we were to print it in the JSON format, this time it should work properly and print in a better manner, a manner that is easier for us to read. If you can recall, in the previous video we tried to do this but it did not work, and I believe the reason why it did not work because we had not embedded any information into the database as of yet. Let us try that now. The command is db period bands period find period for each print JSON. Hit enter, and now it worked. Now it worked perfectly fine as compared to the previous video, and I've realized also, or I've reminded myself, that the print JSON format will print out everything exactly as the regular find format. However, if there's embedded information within the document, then it will be printed in a more presentable fashion. As compared to here, it was just clustered together. In this video, we learned how to insert documents within a collection with embedded information. In the next video, we will continue working with embedded information. I will see you then. Hello and welcome back. In the previous video, we began working by inserting documents into our collection with embedded information. In the previous video, we used the insert method to insert a new band name by the name of Blue Morning, who had embedded information about different events they have previously performed at. In this video, we're going to insert a new band name by the name of Millie Drive. It is going to have the exact same format as the previous lesson. We're going to create an embedded document to insert information about this band who performed at two different events: the Spring Festival event of 2017 and the Halloween parade of 2017, except this time we're going to use the insert one method. In the previous example, we used the insert method. The insert method and the insert one method is almost identically the same. The only difference is that the output of the insert method is different compared to the output of the insert one method. In the previous lesson, when we did the insert method for Blue Morning, this is what we did. We did db bands insert band name Blue Morning. We had two different embedded pieces of information. However, the output displayed and inserted one. Now let us do this for the band Millie Drive and see how the insert one method gives us a different output compared to the regular insert method. Let us begin. Before we begin working in MongoDB, let us type the information in a text editor. This way we can verify the code for any errors, and we can make any corrections before we copy and paste the information into the MongoDB console. First thing first is, instead of us retyping everything, let us copy the existing or the previous example. Copy the example and paste it beneath. This time, we're looking to insert information about a band called Millie Drive, but we are using the insert one method. Therefore, we need to edit our line of code. db period bands period insert one. Add the keyword one. The name of the band this time is Millie Drive. And just a piece of information, all of these bands, I'm not sure if they exist or not. They're fictional. They're band names that I created. So if they do exist out there in the world, please excuse me for using your name. The event is the Spring Festival of Hudson County. Spring Festival. Hudson County. The year is 2017. The genre is jazz. The second event is the Halloween parade. The year is 2017. The genre is jazz. Now verify that all of the information is correct. We are using the insert1 method, db period bands period insert1. Please make sure when you type the insert1 method, the O in 1 is uppercase. It is a capitalized O. You have an open and close set of parentheses and curly brackets. You identify the field name, which is the band name. Identify the value, which is milli drive, followed by a comma, the event, and the embedded information stored as an array. Within the array, each different part of the document will be contained within curly brackets. We have the information we are looking to store, which is information about event, year, genre, and the document with the close bracket followed by a comma. Then we begin working on the second document. Let's verify that everything is correct. Copy the code, right-click, copy, and then in the MongoDB console, paste, and hit enter. And this time it worked, and here is what the output looks like. Acknowledged, true. Inserted ID, object ID. So previously, when we did the regular insert method, we were outputted with a right result, letting us know that insert document 1 was successful. This time, with the insert1 method, and the same format, just a different band name, and different year and different genre and different event, but the structure is still the same. But with the insert1 method, the outputs a different return. It let us know, it acknowledged that this was created true, successful. Inserted ID, and this was the ID that MongoDB created for the band milli drive. So in both insert or insert1, we can insert the same types of properties, the same type of way. However, the output will be different. And this is the only difference between the insert and the insert1 method. In the next video, we will continue writing documents to insert into our band table. We will actually complete the band table in the next video, and then I will give you an exercise to create the second collection by yourself. I will see you then. Thank you. Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to continue working in our band collections and insert different documents. This time, we will learn how to use the insert many method. The insert many method allows us to insert many bands at the same time or many documents at the same time with embedded information. This is almost identical to the two previous examples we did with the regular insert method and with the insert1 method. The only difference is this time we're allowed to insert many documents at the same time, and the output will be a different output. It will be almost the same as the insert1 output. Let us begin by creating the document for both of these bands. This time we're looking to insert information about a band named Kettles and a band named Snowflakes. Both of these bands has different events that we need to store as embedded information, and the same thing with the second band, two different events that we need to store within the system. Let us begin. First thing first, let us work within a text editor. This is the same file we have been working with since the very first lesson, and at the end I will save all of this code and provide it to you as a downloadable resource attached to the course. Right beneath the insert1 method, let us work on the insert many method. db bands insert many, capitalize M for many. So first, we are looking to insert information about the kettles. And as you can see, the kettles also has two different events. So what we can do to save time is we can retype all of this information here with the correct information for the kettles, or we can copy this code. We can copy this code and then we can just edit the information and then copy it a second time for the second band and edit that information. Let us begin. Let us do first the first two. Copy the code and paste it right beneath. Click paste and edit the first line of code. Where it says db period bands period insert 1, change the 1 to many. Then edit the band name from Millie Drive to the kettles. Event, we have two different events, so does this code. So let's change the first event to Boardwalk Parade. The year is 2017 and the genre is blues. The second event is the Tribeca Festival. The year is 2018. And the genre is blues. Now, this is a part of code in MongoDB we have already practiced in the previous lesson. We did this right above when we did the insert method, and we did this when we did the insert1 method. We created a document with embedded information for two different events, except for this time we are doing the insert many method. Therefore, we're looking to insert many bands at the same time with embedded information. So normally, we would end this right here if we've inserted information with events of one band. But this time, we're looking to add information about a second band. Therefore, we need to do a close bracket, followed by a comma, followed by an open bracket. And the reason why is now we're adding a second document into the collection bands, a second document that will have embedded information about different events and relating or belonging to a different band. Hit enter. And now we can continue from the band. We can copy everything from band down to genre. Copy right beneath and paste. So here we have everything for the kettles, event, event 1 within a container, event 2 within a container. These are within an array. Then we have band number 2. The band name is Snowflakes. The event is the Winter Festival. The year is 2018. And the genre is reggae. The second event is the Holiday Festival. The year is 2018, and the genre is reggae. Now that we have entered information for the second band, we need to end this method. We need to close out the method. So we do this with a closing curly bracket, a closing close bracket. I like all of my code to be in line of each other, and I suggest that you get into the practice of doing the same thing. It becomes easier to read and faster to work with as you become more accustomed programming in this or any particular language. Then we need another curly bracket, and then a close bracket and a close parenthesis. So we started writing this method with an open parenthesis and an open close bracket. We're ending it with a close bracket and a close parenthesis. Let me just verify that all of this code is correct. Insert many. The band name is Kettles. I think I made a little typo here. I think I'm supposed to have a close bracket here. Yes, open parenthesis, close bracket. Then the band name, I need another bracket here, and another parenthesis, curly parenthesis. Verify. Okay, so I had to make a few edits here, and the reason why is because when we copied this from the top, I did not change the bracket. It's a little different this time when you do the insert many. The insert many actually is an array of documents with embedded information. So you have to start this with an open parenthesis and an open bracket, just like you will close it with an open parenthesis and a closed bracket, followed by another pair of open square brackets and curly parentheses, the band name, and then the events, which is contained within an array separated by curly brackets and commas. Here's the closing bracket. Here's the ending of the container, followed by a comma, and the beginning of the new document. The new document will consist of information belonging to the band name Snowflakes. Here, the event begins with an open and close bracket. This is how we store an array of embedded information. Again, the information is contained within an open and closed curly bracket, separated by a comma. It is very important that we pay attention to our syntax and we verify everything is correct before we copy and paste it in. After you have verified that all of the code and syntax is correct, go ahead and get ready to copy the code and paste it into MongoDB. So once again, we need to verify that all of our syntax is correct. We need to have an open parenthesis, open square bracket, open curly bracket. This is an error here. I have two open square brackets. I may have made this error when I copied the code from the beginning statement. So delete that and verify that you have db period bands period insert many. The M in many is capitalized. Open parenthesis, open bracket, open curly bracket. The field value, which is the band name, kettles, event. The first embedded event within curly brackets, separated by a comma. The second event contained within curly brackets, closed. Open and close square bracket. Because this is one band, there's no more information we are looking to add to this document at this moment. Close curly bracket, comma, separated with a new open curly bracket. This indicates we're ready to accept or insert information about a second piece of document or second band. We have events, two different events, again stored as an array within curly brackets. Each event is separated by a comma, and then we end the event with a curly bracket and a close bracket. We started this code with an open parenthesis, an open bracket, and an open curly bracket. Therefore, we must end the statement the same way. A curly bracket, a close bracket, and a close parenthesis. Copy the code, highlight everything, right-click, and copy. Now let us paste this code into the Mongo console. And as you can see, it was accepted successfully. As soon as I paste the code and hit enter, it was acknowledged true, inserted IDs for the two new bands we entered, which is the band name the kettles and the band name the snowflakes. And this is the difference between the output of the insert many and the regular insert. When we use the regular insert method, we are just returned with a screenshot to show us that the insert was successful, displaying a value either 1 or 2 or more dependent of the amount of documents we decided to insert. Most likely with the insert statement, it will just say inserted 1 because we inserted one statement. With the insert one state method, the output actually showed us a return, an output similar to the insert many, except it said acknowledged true, and it just showed the ID for the object that was created. For the insert many method, we inserted more than one band. We inserted two bands. Therefore, it acknowledged that it was true, it was successful, but it also displayed us the ID for the additional bands. In this case, we had two bands, so we have two IDs. Let us look at this information now in Mongo Compass. Open Mongo Compass, click on Music. You can also click on Refresh, but click on Music and then click on Bands. So far, This is all of the documents we have created for this collection since we began this course in video 1. We started by inserting information about a first band named the Sparrows, then came the Sunrays, then came the Valley Moors. When we did the Valley Moors, we use a special ID only to show you that we have the ability to do this. We then inserted the Heaven Cats, Hudsons, and 559 at the same time. We then inserted Blue Morning. However, when we inserted Blue Morning, we did it with embedded information. We started to save information in our bands pertaining to different events that they have performed. If we click on List, we can then go down and we can see which one of these bands have embedded information. Simply by, it tells us there's an event and an array. It started with Blue Morning. 559, there's no additional information to display. However, with Blue Morning, there's events. There's the event from Liberty State Park, 4th of July, on the year 2018. And there's the second event at Jersey City Holiday Festival of year 2018. Same thing for Millie Drive. 2 events. Spring Festival, Hudson County, 2017. Halloween Parade, 2017. Same thing for the Kettles. They had the Boardwalk Parade of 2017 and a performance at the Tribeca Festival of 2018. And the Snowflakes. They had a performance at the Winter Festival of 2018 and at the Holiday Festival of 2018. We have now completed creating the first database of our course. Let us take a look at the database in the MongoDB console. First, we can do db bands find, hit enter, and we're returned with just a list of all of the information that consists within our database. We can take our time and go through line by line and try to recognize the information, but as we get down to the embedded documents, you can see it's more clustered. It's a little more harder and difficult to read. Therefore, we can use the second option, db period bands period find parentheses period for each print JSON, and this will print the same exact information in a easier format for us to read. Hit enter, and there. Everything else above is still returned in a clustered format because there are only information about the band names for some of these. For one, there's an assigned ID, but for the rest, it's just band names. There's no embedded information to display. However, as we move down to Blue Morning, where we started to insert embedded information into our database, this information is now printed for us in a clear manner. It's easier for us to read this way as compared to a more clustered format. This is the end of us creating our very first table or our very first collection in MongoDB. In the next video, I will give you the challenge of creating the second collection on your own. Please view that video to see all of the required information that I am requesting to have in that collection. In the following video, we will create that collection together step by step. So if you were stuck at any point, we will do it together and you will be able to have a better understanding before we move on to retrieving queries or writing queries to retrieve data from our Mongo database. Thank you. I'll see you then. Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we will begin working on our second collection of our music database. Here is a challenge I would like you to try. I would like you to try to create the second collection all on your own. Within the same database music, I would like you to create a collection that's called musicians. Maybe I should add that name here for you. Create a collection just like we created a collection called bands. Name that collection musicians. In that collection, I would like you to insert 8 different musicians. I would like you to insert them with assigned IDs, starting at 1 for Robert, all the way to 8 for Steve. Please create the proper IDs for the proper musician. This way, as we work through the course together and begin writing queries, all of our information and all of our results will be the same. Here's a hint for you. You can decide if you want to insert each one of these documents at a time or insert them all at the same time. That is your choice. We learned how to do both of these in all of the previous lessons when we created the first collection bands together. So it is up to you if you're going to do it one at a time or all at the same time. It is your choice. In the next video, I will go over the solution to this together step by step. I will show you how I created the collection and which way I decided to create it, either one at a time or all at the same time. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Hello and welcome back. In the last video, I provided you with the challenge of creating the second collection of our database. The name of that collection is musicians. I hope that you were able to perform that task on your own. And if you were stuck at anywhere, let's go over the solution together now. There's no exact solution of how you could have created that collection. You in fact could have inserted each document one at a time, or you can insert them all at once using the insert many method. I personally am going to use the insert many method. Let's begin now. First, let's write our code in a text editor and then copy the code after we've verified all of the syntax is correct, and then paste it into the MongoDB console. So first, we're looking to create a collection by the name of musicians. Let us first write the code to insert all of the code. We will do db musicians insert, and I would like to use the insert many method. Insert many. First, we would like to insert an ID of 1. Name, Robert, instrument, vocals, number 2, ID 2, name, Larry, Larry Kent, instrument, Drums. Born 1988. ID 3. Name Danny Brown. Instrument bass. Born 1990. ID 4. Name Brandon Jacobs. Instrument guitar. Born 1985. ID 5. Name Ari Lance. Instrument keyboards. Born 1994. ID 6. Name Jeff Kelly. Vocals born 1990. ID 7. Name Mark Thomas. Instrument drums, born 1987. ID 8. Steve Judd. Instrument bass. Born 1984. Close bracket, close parenthesis. Now let us verify that all of our code is in the correct format. We have commas everywhere and quotations everywhere that is needed. For ID number 1, we have the name of Robert Van. instrument, vocals. Quotations, quotations, single quote. I made a typo. Should be double quotes. ID number 2, Larry Kent, comma, instrument, drums, comma, born 1988, comma. ID number 3, Danny Brown, quotations, comma, instrument, quotations, comma, born 1990, comma. ID number 4, name, Brandon Jacobs, quotations, comma, instrument, quotations, born, comma. ID number 5, Ari Lance, instrument, quotations, comma, 1984, comma. ID number 6, name, Jeff Kelly, instrument, vocals, born 1990. ID number 7, Mark Thomas, instrument, drums, born 1987. ID number 8, Steve Judd, instrument, bass, born 1984. So all of the information is correct. All of the syntax, such as quotations, are correct. The 1 or 2 errors I had at single quotes, I corrected those. Here's one I missed. Here's a single quote. Make that double quotes if you made the same error, because you were following me. Let's just verify again. Let's add a space next to name. Everything looks good. Let's add a space next to date of birth for those where it does not exist. Everything looks good. We have an open parenthesis, an open bracket. We have a closing bracket and a closing parenthesis. So let's go ahead and copy this. Right-click, copy, and paste it into the MongoDB console. Now, to recall, this is a new collection. This is not the same collection we were working with before. The collection we worked with before was the bands collection, which kept information about band members and events that they performed at. This is a different collection in the same database of music, but the name of this collection is musicians. This collection consists of different musicians that have also worked with us in the past. So we did not create a collection called musicians. We did not do create collections and just have an empty collection. Instead, we're going to insert directly to the collection. And being that the collection does not exist, Mongo will automatically create that collection for us. Let's go ahead and do this. Copy the code, right-click copy, and go into the MongoDB. First, let's do show collections. And right now, the show collections, we only have bands. Now we're going to create a new collection and insert all of this information at the same time. We copy the information, we paste the information, and immediately when you paste the information, it was inserted and we got a successful acknowledgement. Acknowledged true, inserted all of the IDs from 1 to 8. It's printing 1 to 8 because we selected a predefined ID of 1 to 8. If we did not enter the ID field here, an object ID will automatically be created for us. And instead of just 1 to 8, it will be a longer ID code, an automatic generated code generated by MongoDB. But now we have created 2 collections within our database. We have successfully created both of these collections. Let's try the previous command show collections again. Press up once, press up a second time, show collections, hit enter, and this time we have 2 collections in our music database. We have a collections of bands, of different bands that we know and we work with, and we have a collections of musicians, different musicians, all who have a particular ID because we assign them a specific ID. Let's go ahead now and look at both of these collections in our musician database using MongoCompass. Now open MongoCompass, and the last time I was in MongoCompass, we were reviewing the code from the bands collection. Click refresh, and as soon as you click refresh, you will see that the musician collection appears. Let's click on the home tab of music, and now we can see information about our database. And this is why MongoDB is such a great tool, because if you are learning MongoDB for the first time, like we are in this class, or like I did when I studied computer science, everything I had to do from scratch. I did not have access to MongoDB at that time, but then over time it became more popular and this application came out, and now it's easier to help people learn MongoDB and to read MongoDB even if they don't know it 100%. It's a great tool. So let us look at this database. We have the music database, and we have the bands collection and the musician collection. Let's look at the musician collection because we just created this collection. The musician collection consists of 8 different musicians. We have their ID, we have their name, we have what they specialize in, and the year they were born. Some of the fields we do not have all of the information, and this is fine. When working with a structural or a relational database, you also have the option to leave some fields blank. However, when you create those databases and you want to have the option to leave a field blank, you must indicate that in the structure of creating the table. You must indicate if something is null or not null. If something is not null in a relational database, information must be provided every single time. If there's no indication of not null, then you have the option of not providing information in a relational database. This is the difference between a relational database and MongoDB. In MongoDB, we do not have to fulfill all of those data structures as a standard relational database. We can create collections, we can create documents, we can assign a ID. We do not have to assign a ID. We can leave some fields blank. That is the beauty of MongoDB. Now let's take a look at the list. And the list in MongoDB will just give us basically a list of all of the information that we have. But for the list of musicians, we did not embed any information. At least we did not do that yet. We will do that later in this course when we start speaking about relationships. Let's take a look at the band collection one more time. Here's the band table. We have 10 different bands. Some of the fields are available and some are not. Some has an array with embedded information. If we go to the list, we can see a list of all of the bands. And then we can see a list of all of the different bands that has embedded information or embedded documents. Okay, so this is the end of our first section of creating a database together. We have successfully created the music database. We created a standard bands collection, and then we created a standard musician collection. In the next section, we will begin working with MongoDB to query information out of the database. And then, in the final section of this course, we will return to our collections, the music collection and the band collection, and we will insert more information. We will insert more information again to create relationships. And once we've created relationships, we will learn in MongoDB how can we retrieve information based on those relationships. Those relationships are similar to a relational database, except there are no joins. In a relational database, you always have to join tables together by using a primary or a foreign key. In MongoDB, we can escape that difficult task. We can cut it out, basically, save the time, and we can create simple relationships, and we can access those relationships. In the next video, we will begin section 2, and we will begin writing queries in MongoDB. Thank you, and I'll see you then. Hello, and welcome back. We are now at the beginning of section 2 of our MongoDB Bootcamp. In this section, we will start working with the 3 collections we've created. First, let us take a look at the database and the 3 collections. Log into the MongoDB console and select the music database. You do this by using the use command. Use database name music. Hit enter. We'll switch to DB music. We can then use the command show collections. Hit enter, and you will see the 3 different collections we have created. The bands collection, which gives us information about the different bands we have on record and the bands we have worked with in the past. We have information about different events they have performed in the past. We have the book fee collection, which is information about events, different type of events that we can book for, and the starting fee for each event. There's also the musician collection, which gives us information about the different musicians we have on record, or the different musicians we have worked with in the past, and the different types of instruments or skills that they have. Now let us go ahead and use the db collection.find method to take a look at each one of these collections. db. First, the first collection, let's look at the bands collection. db period bands period find period find parentheses. Hit enter, and we are returned with all of the information that exists in that collection at this time. As you can see, there are different documents. Some have assigned IDs, some have IDs that were assigned by MongoDB, and some has embedded information from different arrays with different type of events or different type of information saved within those arrays. Let us go ahead now and use the db.collection.find.pretty method so we can see the difference when using both of these methods. The db.collection.find method allows us to select documents in a collection and return a result set. It has returned a result set by using the cursor. The cursor points to the query result set. The db.collection.find.pretty method configures the cursor to display the result set in an easy-to-read format using JSON. Let us try this now. Let's do the same thing, the same command, db.bands.find parentheses dot or period pretty parentheses, hit enter, and now we are returned with all of the same information, except this time any document that has embedded information in the form of an array. As you can see here, we have information about event saved in the form of an array, and we know this because it is saved within square brackets. And then there's 2 different document events saved within their own pair of curly brackets separated by a comma. For example, band name has embedded information saved in the event object. First event was the Liberty State Park 4th of July. The year was 2018. Second event was Jersey City Holiday Festival, the year of 2018. Now let us try to retrieve information also looking at the 2 other collections. Let us look at the musician collection. Using the find command. I spelled that wrong, I left off the S. db.musicians.find, parentheses. Hit enter, and we are returned with all of the information saved within this collection. As you can see, we have 8 different musicians, and we have information stored about their name, their instrument or skill, because some of them don't play an instrument, they actually perform, they are vocalists, and we have the time period or the year they were born. Let us take a look at the final, which is book fee. db period book fee period find, parentheses. This time we returned information about the different types of events that we have stored. Booking events, for example, we have festival, parades, banquets, weddings, parties, and other events. We also have information about their starting fee. We have fees that go as high as $600 and starting fees as low as $300. All of this information and all of these tables are pseudocode. It's made up. So I'm not sure if any of these bands exist, and I'm not sure if these fees are accurate. They can be higher, they can be lower, depending on where you are. Now, let's go ahead and see how can we retrieve information from the database. Using the find method, let's work with the book fee table. Actually, let's work with the musicians table. Let's look up musicians. db.musicians.find. What if we wanted to find a specific record? How would we do this? Well, to find a specific record, we can indicate within the parentheses of MongoDB. Being that we're working with JSON, we want to add everything within curly brackets. So first we start with an open parenthesis, open curly bracket, and we indicate the field we are looking to find. Looking at the musicians collection right here, let us find a musician who was born in 1990. So find born (1990). Verify that you have typed in the field exactly as it is shown in the database. For example, we have born listed as BORN, capitalized B. You should request the same. db period musicians period find born in 1990. This will return us with information about anyone who was born in 1990. Hit enter, and we returned with 2 different musicians who were born in the year 1990. We were returned with ID number 3 belongs to Danny Brown, born 1990. We were returned with ID number 6, name Jeff Kelly, born 1990. Let us try one more example. Let us try the bands collection. First, let us look at the bands collection. And it's jumbled because we're using the standard find method. Let us use the .pretty method. Okay, so let us look up this band. Let's look up the band from, the band name from the bands collection whose name is Kettles. To do this, we will do db period bands period find open parenthesis open curly bracket. We're looking to find the band name, semicolon, indicate. Now this is a string. The band name is a string. It's a data type. So within quotations, indicate the name of the band we are looking for, which is Kettles, curly bracket, parenthesis. Hit enter, And this time we returned with the object or the ID belonging to the band name kettles. We can also add on the .pretty method, and it will return the information or the result set in an easier to read format. And here we are. Object ID, band name, embedded information, which is events, event number 1, the Boardwalk Parade of 2017, event number 2, Tribeca Festival 2018. Each one of these events are contained within their own perimeter, their own set of curly brackets, separated by a comma. In this video, we learned how to select data from within a database using the find or .pretty method. In the next video, we will start working with the collections to see how can we update or change information from within a collection. I will see you then. Thank you. In this video, let us quickly learn about the find_one method. Just like the find method, the find_one method returns one document that satisfies the specified criteria on the collection or view. If multiple documents satisfies the query, this method returns the first document only in natural order. Let us try an example. First, if we do db:/musicians:/find, we retrieve all of the data from within the musicians collection. This time, if we do db:/find_one, we are only returned with the first record on file. Therefore, the find_one method will retrieve one matching document specified from the collection, as to where db:/musicians:/find retrieves all of the data from within a collection. This was a brief explanation of the difference between the find method and the find_one method. Thank you. Welcome back. Here's a practice I would like you to try before we move on to the next lesson. First, can you try to find musicians by the name Mark Thomas? Can you also find any musician with vocal skills? Please pause the video now and try to solve this on your own. When you continue, we will solve the solutions to both of these queries together. Okay. Assuming that you paused the video, let's go ahead and solve both of these together. First, we are looking for musicians by the name Mark Thomas. Therefore, we need to use the musicians collection. Let's look at that. In the musicians collection, we can find all of the information within this collection by using the command db:/musicians:/find. Musicians is the name of this collection. In the collection, we can see that there is one musician by the name of Mark Thomas. So let's go ahead and write the code to retrieve him or to query him out of this collection. Same command, db:/musicians:/find, open parenthesis, open curly bracket. We're looking to find him by his name. Semicolon. And within quotations, because the name is a string, you type his name. Mark Thomas. Quotation, curly brackets, parentheses. Verify that everything is correct. Hit enter. And we returned with his ID number, his name, his instrument or his skill, and the year he was born. Can you think of another way to retrieve him from the database? We can also find him instead of by his name, also by using his ID. Let's try that. DB period musicians period find. We're looking to find, this time by ID. And his ID number is 7. Hit enter. And this also works. We're able to retrieve his information by either searching or finding his name or his ID. Let us try the second question. Find any musician with vocal skills. DB period musicians period find parenthesis curly bracket. This time we're looking for vocal skills. Vocal skills or any type of skills can be found under instrument. Instrument. Vocals. Verify that everything is correct. DB period musicians period find parenthesis open curly bracket instrument vocals closing bracket closing parenthesis. Hit enter. And this time we are returned with all information about any musician who has vocal skills. We are returned with ID number 1, Robert Van. Here he is, ID number 1, Robert Van, vocals. And ID number 6, Jeff Kelly, vocals. ID number 6, Jeff Kelly, vocals. And these are the only two musicians within our collection who has vocal skills. I hope that you were able to solve both of these queries together. In the next video, we will learn how to update information inside of a collection to either change or to remove something. I will see you then. Thank you. Hello and welcome back. In this video, we will learn how to use the update method in MongoDB. The update method is used to modify an existing document or documents within a collection. Let us try a few examples so you can understand the concept. First, let us look at, let's say we work with the musicians table. DB period musicians period find. Here we have all of the information within the musicians table. We have 8 different musicians. We have their name, their instrument or skills, and the year they were born. First, let's say we needed to update the information about one of our musicians. For example, let's update the name of musician Steve Judd. Steve Judd. Let's update his name to be Steven instead of Steve Judd. In order to do this, we will use the same command, db period the name of the collection, which is musicians, period, and now we can type update. Update. And what are we looking to update? We are looking to update Steve Judd. So the easiest way for us to locate Steve Judd inside of the collection is to search him by his specific assigned ID. And that ID is 8. Comma. Then we want to use the set method to save that information, to store it and replace the existing information inside of the collection. we're looking to set. So we're looking to change his name from Steve and set his name to Steven to add an E. This way, we will type the value we're looking to change, which is his name, followed by semicolon, and the value we're looking to change it to. In this case, we would like his name to be Steven Judd. I forgot the quotations. Steven Judd. Curly bracket. Curly bracket. Parentheses. So this way, we're looking to update the information about musician ID number 8. We're looking to change his name from what it is on file as Steve Judd to Steven Judd. To do this, we are using the update method. First, in the database, we are selecting the collection name, which is musicians. Then, we are using the update method. Within the update method, we are finding the specific musician we are looking to change information about. This is musician ID number 8. We are looking to set his name to Steven Judd. We are using quotations because the name is a string. We are ending the statement with 2 curly brackets and a set of parentheses, because when we began this statement, we use a set of open parenthesis, open curly bracket. Therefore, we have to close with the same. Then we have a set of curly brackets here for the name change, the value that we're changing. Go ahead and hit enter. Oh, and apparently I am missing something. So let's take a look specifically at what I am missing. What line of code did I skip? I think I entered a parenthesis right here where it was not required. So let me change that. And this is why it's good to always verify the code before you hit enter. And even though I reviewed the code, even I missed it, and I went ahead and hit enter and still had an error. And this is very common in programming. No matter what language you're programming with, you will make errors. As a new developer, you will make a lot of errors. As a skilled developer, you will still make errors, and you will have to take time to debug and look at your code and find out exactly where you went wrong. So let us verify this again. We are selecting the database. We are selecting the name of the collection, which is musicians. We are using the update method, followed by an open parenthesis and a set of curly brackets to indicate which musician we are looking to change. In this case, we are changing ID 8, followed by a comma. Then we are using the set method. The set method to set the value to the new value we would like it to be. In this case, we are changing the name of Steve Judd to Steven Judd. We are using quotations because it is a string, followed by 2 curly brackets and a closing parenthesis. Now hit enter and let's see if this works. And now this is successful. We were able to match one musician by their ID, and we were able to modify one record. Let's take a look at the record. DB period musicians period find. Hit enter, and now we can see that ID number 8 of Steve Judd has now been updated to Steven Judd. So therefore, our update query was correct. Let us try one more. Let us work within the same collection, the musician collection. Now looking at the instruments, some of these people have skills besides instruments. They have vocals, and some of these people, well, all of them only play one instrument. So let us go, well, here's one. One plays two instruments, the bass and the drums. So let us go ahead now and let us change this. Let us add an additional instrument for some of these musicians. Let us work with, I will say, musician number 7. Let us add bass to his record as well. So to do this, you can do db period musicians period update to use the update method. And now let's hit enter. Let's hit enter so this way we can keep track of all of our parentheses and all of our curly brackets. It'll be a little easier to read. So hit enter, curly brackets, identify the musician we are looking to update. In this case, it is ID number 7, curly brackets, comma, hit enter, curly brackets. We are looking to set. This time, we are looking to set the instrument we're looking to set his instrument from only drums to also bass. We are adding bass. So being that we are adding bass, there will be an array. There will be more than one value in that field. So we will use an array. To use an array, we will use brackets. Square brackets, first name his existing skill, which is the drums, because this is an update. If we did not add his existing skill and we updated it with an array with new information excluding drums, then drums will be erased when we proceed with entering the query, entering the command. So therefore we need to add drums separated by a comma and now add his new skill, which is bass. Once we've added bass, you close the statement followed by 2 curly brackets and a closing parenthesis. Now let us verify if this is all correct. Open bracket, closing bracket, closing bracket, closing parenthesis. It looks correct. We have the correct ID, ID 7. We are setting his instrument from only drums to add bass. Therefore, he will be known to now play drums and the bass. Hit enter. And we have a successful return. 1 match for ID 7. 1 modified. He's now playing an additional instrument, which is the bass. Let us view this information. We can hit up again to get the command of db period musicians period find. Hit enter. And now we can see that his information has been updated. He now plays the drums and the bass. And if you can recall, for ID number 8, when we created this table, I believe I only had Steve Judd play the bass, and I updated him to play the drums. So therefore, if your record does not say bass and drums, that is okay. It is not a big deal. You can go ahead and do the update the same way we just did this to add drums to Steven Judd's record. But if you do not, that is not a big problem. I only did that so I can see that the update worked, so therefore our database may be different when it comes to skills for one musician. But you can make that change yourself right now the same way we did this. For Steven Judd, just go ahead and add drums. And here's the code. I will do it for you, except I will not run the code because I do not want there to be an error or duplicates within my database. So if at home your ID 8 only has bass and not drums, this is what you will do. You will do db.musicians.update, open parenthesis, open curly bracket, ID semicolon 8, close bracket, comma, open curly bracket, set instrument bass, because that is his existing skill, so we need to keep it, plus drums. And this is his new skill. Close square bracket. We use close brackets because this is an array. Close curly bracket, close curly bracket, close parenthesis. So this is the code you will use to update ID number 8. If your database, if your collection only has bass as his skill, and you would like it to look identical to mine's, go ahead and run this code. This is exactly the same example we just did when we updated ID number 7 to add bass to his list of skills. Same code, same method. The only thing we have changed is the ID to 8, and this time it's in the reverse order. It is bass first because this is what he's known to perform with, and we are adding drums. I'm not going to run this code because I have already done this. So I'm just going to hit backspace and nothing will happen. Okay, so here's one example I would like for you to try. On your own, can you please update ID 1 to a birth year of 1991? Let's look at the musicians table. If you look at the musicians table, we have ID 1 belongs to Robert Van. His instrument is vocals, and he was born in 1989. Can you please update his date of birth, or the year that he was born, to 1991? Try this on your own, and in the next video, I will go over the solution together. Thank you. Hi everyone, welcome back. In the last video, we learned how to use the update method to update information inside of a collection. Then, we practiced a few examples and I provided you with this query to practice on your own. In the musician collection, I requested that you update musician with the ID of number 1, birth year to 1991. Looking at the musician collection, we have IDs from 1 to 8. We're looking to update ID number 1, Robert Van, birth year to 1991. Currently, you may not have a birth year here, or you may have 1989, because when I first created this collection with you, I left it blank, but then I was practicing the updates, and I may have changed it to 1989. If you do not have that at this moment, it is okay, but let's go ahead and update it anyway so we all can be at 1991. So to do this, we will first say db period musicians, which is the name of the collection, period update method. You can hit enter if you would like it to be printed a little clearer. Curly brackets ID 1, comma, set born. This time we're looking to set the year he was born, and we have it saved in the collection. It's just the field is born. Born. (1991). And the statement, curly bracket, close in parenthesis. Verify that everything is correct. We're using the command database period musicians, which is the name of the collection, period update, which is a method. Open parenthesis. We are identifying within curly brackets the ID we are looking to update. We are looking to set that ID, birth year, to 1991. Close curly bracket, close parenthesis. hit enter, and we are returned with a successful result set. 1 was matched by the ID of 1. 1 was modified. We were able to match the musician, and we were able to modify that piece of data. Let us view the database. Let us view the collection now. And now you can see that he has been updated to 1991. Let us take a look at MongoDB Compass. All of the information that we update in the system will also be updated in Mongo Compass. Here's the music database. Here's the musicians. Let's view a table. And now ID 1 for Robert Van is 1991. If we view it as a list and we scroll down, we can now click on Mark Thomas, and we can see that he has an array of different skills, which is the drums and which is the bass. And the same will be for Stephen Judd. His name is now Stephen Judd, and his record has been updated to play bass and drums. In this video, we learned how to use the update method, and we also practiced how to write different queries to update information within our collection. In the next video, we will learn how to retrieve data using comparison operators. I will see you then. Thank you.